Hey there, what's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Soccer's Overtime, your weekly look inside the San Diego Sockers and the Major Arena Soccer League. Coming to you live on YouTube, courtesy of San Diego Punto Football. It is Season 7, Episode 5, as the Sockers streak into Kansas City. Owners of a 10-match winning streak. But that streak's going to be tested this week, taking on the Comets, the Ambush, and then next week, the Chihuahua Savage. Welcome back, everybody. It's great to have you here. Coming to you live on Tuesday, February 4th, 2025 with Tony Sanchez. I'm Craig Elston. Got a great show lined up for you today with not one, but two special guests. First things first. What's going on? How are you, Tony?
Doing really well and enjoying just this last end of January, beginning of February, going by so quickly already. But it's very, very interesting because I see the season just kind of go into the second half rather quickly for MASL. So it's going to be a really fun one coming up for playoffs.
Yeah, it felt like January was about 68 days long. And the funny thing about February is it's only 28 days long, and it'll feel like 15 as we roll into the men's outdoor season and into the all-star break and then into this key second half for the Sockers. Here's what's going on the show tonight. Sockers win a goal-keeping battle against the Tacoma Stars. Of course, we've got the highlights for you and our thoughts from Sunday evening. We've got a pair of great guests for you this week. Sometimes it just works out this way. We'll be joined by Kansas City star announcer Eric Bergrud and Sockers star defender Mitchell Cardenas. Boom, boom, back to back. Bergrud, Cardenas. One will shoot, one will block. We will have them both coming up later in the show. They're drafting all-stars. They've drafted all-stars. They may have drafted all-stars. There will be no Sockers nor Savage at the all-star game. We'll bring you the results, though, in MASL news, and we'll kick it around. And in Sockers news, it's a tough trip to the Show Me State. This weekend, we'll preview matches in Kansas City and St. Louis. And it used to be you were thinking, one really hard match, maybe one easy match. I don't know. King's got back his mighty scepter, and he's been wielding it quite well of late. Looks like two tough matches ahead as we roll into this one tonight. And we're going to have to keep it moving fast and lively to sneak in two guests as well. Do want to say a pair of happy birthdays, Tony. First off to the man that is the man, Phil Salvaggio, the progenitor of Front Wave Arena, the owner of the Sockers and the Outlaws and part of other teams and some of the MASL. And he is the owner. He is the operator. He is El Hombre, El Señor, Phil Salvaggio. Happy birthday, Phil. And he shares a birthday with Pee Wee Ortega. So happy birthday, Pee Wee. How about it? He looks so happy.
I am thrilled. Thank you.
They Photoshop a mugshot? What is it? What's going on with that? Hey, Pee Wee, smile. I am. Oh, boy. Well, happy birthday to those guys. Phil turning 39 years old, of course, and Pee Wee a little less than that, 32, I believe, if I remember my scorecard from Sunday correctly. I believe 32. So good on you, boys. Hope you both have terrific days. Pee Wee, if you happen to be watching, maybe skip the first goal allowed on this upcoming recap. And otherwise, we'll be rolling along merrily. Okay. Like I mentioned, we got Eric Bergrud coming up. We got Mitchell Cardenas coming up. I've got Eric locked in for 6:30. I offered Mitchell before or after. I think he's picking up his kids right now. So I said maybe after would work out better. And if so, we'll just push some MASL news on the other side of this. But let's just jump right into the highlights in case he winds up being before. And here we go with the Sockers and the Tacoma Stars. And Of course we knew, Tony. We previewed it on the show. We said this was going to be a goalkeeping battle. These are two guys who always want to bring their absolute best when they play one another in Boris Pardo and Chris Toth.
And it's a very lonely position, the goalkeeping position, where honestly, there's only one person that can really relate to you on the floor, and that's the opposing goalkeeper. To have such a legendary career that mirrors each other, this was going to be another barn burner in net for both. And there you go, Boris starting it with the stop of Nick Ferreira.
This was the first moment where I thought, I mean, amazing stop, perfectly done, absolutely classic by Boris. Now there's Chris just getting to midfield with such athleticism to keep that play alive and to deny a breakaway against. But look at this for the throw. This is shorthanded, one of the best throws you could possibly see in the sport of indoor soccer. So now Boris has stopped a shootout. He made a couple of huge stops on the power play ensuing, and then he has the perfect throw out to Devoy off the bench, gets his second assist of the year, and a 1-0 Sockers lead.
Like, I think I did that chef kiss as it was happening. Even if it didn't end up being a goal, I was just in awe of just that's a perfectly executed, just fundamental throw in the right space. Tavoy knows exactly where to be, and it's just his job to finish it. Boris did the hard part for you.
Here's just an unfortunate play. Pee Wee thinks he has the space to chest it down to Pardo, but here comes Tyler John. I mean, kid did nothing but hustle all night, and he showed speed that was better than most of the Sockers club, Tony. And right here, his speed, he just messes with this play, Yeah,
no, indoor is one of those sports that hustle is rewarded in a lot of times, and John really came out to play, and he looked like he had something to prove. And you know what? The Sockers weren't necessarily ready. Pee Wee getting caught there, and just a miscommunication overall, and the Stars were kept in it
until this hilarious play, in which I'm going to stand by what I said on the broadcast. I think both teams could have challenged and been successful in this circumstance. The ruling of the deliberate handball is obvious on Brame when you saw the replay, but he had clearly been fouled before. But nonetheless, now it's Chris Toth's turn to block a penalty and actually block it twice. Great job on the shootout by Toth, but you also got to defend the power play. And there's Tavoy for his second of the quarter on his knees like a prayer. He will take you there to the back of the net.
Yeah, no, and Costa, they're doing the beautiful diagonal pass, and that's where you have him be so lethal in those spaces where you usually have a player open up the space, but the acute angle of that pass is what gets it done at that pace is something incredibly impressive. It almost catches Mendez a little bit too late, but fortunately, Tavoy was there.
Sockers with that 2-1 advantage. Chris Toth is going to keep it that way. One-handed save. Chris was on fire. I still want to know what the color is of that blue jersey. I kind of like to get it, but now, oh boy. There's the counterattack, and there are three Sockers all individually asking themselves, is there any way I could have got down the floor just a little bit harder on this play? Because Rivers to Brame, credit for the pass, but oh man, nobody can interfere with this counterattack.
Yeah, it all started off of a breakdown of a set piece for the Sockers that was typical in this fashion here. They had done it 2 times dispossessed, but this one time for the Stars, it ended up being a goal, and then another heads-up play, literally, with the Wallace scorer.
Yeah, Willie Spur to the head of Tyler John. Really a crafty play, the kind of play you love to see in the sport of indoor. Somebody getting their head involved in the act, beating Tavoy 1v1 there was Spur to get his right foot open to make this shot pass. And John just right place, right time, parallel run. Really lovely execution on this play for the Stars. And at this point, a pretty well-earned 3-2 lead, I would say, for Tacoma. And, of course, chances coming, and Chris Toth is going to be in the way of most of those chances. But Boris Pardo really good on this night as well. 10 out of 13 on saves, the shootout save, the assist. He was dynamite. Here's another really good chance. And it's just the aggressiveness of Toth. He's faster, a little more athletic than most goalkeepers. And as such, he's a risky keeper. He takes so many chances, Tony.
Yeah, no, and that's really kind of that confidence that you can give your back line saying, "I got your back. I'm gonna put everything on the line at the end of the day, so I need you to do the same." And again, that puts defenders on a, calm path as well to do smart plays, but, I mean, as much as you wanna play well, you get plays like this, no one is stopping that.
Craig Giles, with his back to the whole thing, facing the corner, just does a toe poke pass, a perfect wall of score. Talk about a wall of score using the base of the wall so he gets a clean roll out. Look at that right there to send it to Morales off the wall. I should even say he didn't send it off the wall. He's reading it off the wall and flicking it back, watching that again. Nonetheless, back to the play, knows his guy, knows where he is, gets it on foot. Incredible work. Morales takes care of the rest.
And it's good to see Morales scoring once again, getting that confidence. He came out guns a blazing, and now if he can build some consistency and good progressions towards this soccer's team, it's going to be very dangerous to have him and Tavoy on the same cylinders coming into the second half of the season.
Knee save Toth, kick save Toth, chest save Toth,
Everything
diving play to deny.
Just incredible.
I'll repeat the stat I had very early in the broadcast, which is that just coming into the game, here we go again, wide open chance, good slide tackle try, Toth dives in there, peppering around. Coming into the game, Toth had more saves than both Pardo and Snare Williams had shots against combined by a measure of almost 30. Just so much more activity, but then the finish. Luis Morales, we hadn't really seen him pass. I don't know if we'd seen him pass once in San Diego, Tony, but he made the perfect pass right there. And plays like that are how you win games. Is getting your guys in space and getting them, most importantly, connected. The connectivity right here. Charles knows where to be. Morales knows where to find him.
Exactly. And we saw Morales try this exact same play, trying to bulldoze his way and muscle his way against the wall. And, in indoor, you want to go ahead and have that as a resource, but then you corner yourself as a player and you really trap yourself. And the only way through is through the opponent, and that's usually a foul. But here he kind of learned that, maybe if I take the step before and pass it, put my head up, I'll find a Craig Childs right there, does the exact play. Childs is ready just to tap it in. And I mean, this is a growth of Morales in game, a real time learning experience that he had, and really capitalized on that.
You love to see it now. Of course, here was the replay. So clearly no foul anywhere in the actual run forward. There were no picks. No one was taken off their feet. The only thing you could see was early in as they wound this back, somebody comes crashing through. Serta, there you go. Comes crashing through, but the guy he knocks down is the guy who winds up defending Morales as he's coming in. So obviously there was nothing that interfered with any part of this. And then the officials come out and they wave their arms in the manner that would be suggestive of no goal. But what they meant was no foul.
They just wanted to show us the entire play and the build up once again. It was like, okay, we'll give them the entirety of this play, and okay.
Phil was the hero. Phil literally was facing us so we could see him and read his lips as he said, "Is it a goal?" And he held up his hands like, "Is it a goal?" And then finally someone held up their hands. And then he goes, "What about that?" And they went, "No, we meant no foul." Okay, see ya.
Thank you for that signal call on Phil's part. It's a giant team out there.
And that's this week's episode of MASL, kind of MASL. Oh, baby. There's always something in the Major Arena Soccer League.
Love it. But man, Boris had as perfect of a first quarter as you can ask for a goalkeeper.
You really can.
Like that's
really, incredible. Yeah, I agree. Boris was terrific on this night. He's been great really almost all of the year. I think, a couple early games, teams rounding into form, but he's been rock solid. I think Xavier's done a really good job when he has been called upon this year as well. And the result, of course, you've got great defenders in front of you. The result is a Sockers defense that's allowing just about 4 goals per match on the season. They came in at 4.3 and they allowed 3 in this one. So, 10 wins in a row. And unlike college basketball, it's true that they don't ask how, they ask how many. And, in this case, Tacoma gets their 8th point. So the Sockers drop a point. The points don't matter quite as much this year, although I still think San Diego would love to finish with a higher record than Chihuahua, if possible, just in case, right? Just in case it came down to a grand final and having that last game in Oceanside instead of at the tiny, tiny Corner Sport Arena where you feel like a championship would be inevitable. Nonetheless, just got a text, Tony, from Mitchell. He will join us at 6:45.
Okay.
So we can kind of, reach into our MASL news bag here a little bit after we finish chopping up this match and take it to 6:30 when Eric joins us. Nonetheless, right now, as it stands, the Sockers aren't the only team on a roll. The Baltimore Blast have won 9 in a row. They went into Milwaukee and won. They played quite well. And after a 1-1 start, they're 10-1. And right there, with 1 extra point, thanks to the point dropped on Sunday, they've got second place all to themselves by 1 point. And then you've got Chihuahua there with the somewhat deceiving 6 and 5 point lead over second and third place, 3 matches in hand for Baltimore and San Diego. But I guess even more importantly, Tony, 2 weeks away, but it'll be a home and home, Sockers and Savage. So the distribution of those 6 points ultimately will truly matter. But, the Sockers, if they can somehow find a perfect trip through Missouri and get all 6 points, then they would be right there breathing down the neck of the Savage, 2 points back with a match in hand going into the home and home, where even if they split it, they could still have that path to overtake Chihuahua for number 1.
Yeah, and this next upcoming set of matches is incredibly crucial because it's also that measuring stick of the other teams that you're competing against, that you're going to go ahead and be in these situations. And, in sports, it's usually referred to as this is a playoff caliber matchup in the regular season. And this is exactly what it is. You have a chance to really see what Chihuahua is going to look like at Corner Sport Arena. You are more than likely, if this is still your hope and your vision board has Chihuahua in the finals against you, then you're going to have to try to beat them at Corner Sport regardless. So might as well work on the Kings, get some good video out of it, regardless of what the performance is. You have to understand how to beat Chihuahua at Chihuahua if you really want to be, considered a no question number 1 contender for the title. You're going to have to take it to them in Mexico. And if anybody can, potentially as a Sockers, there's, ways to go ahead and do that on a bigger pitch, on a bigger floor. Clearly more than one team has already done that, Tacoma being one of them as well. But again, if you want to be that apex predator of a team, you have to beat Chihuahua and Mexico. And you have to choose, be able to be competitive as well, maintain with them.
And if you look at it and you even want to widen your lens a little bit, let's say Baltimore stays right in the thick of things. They're a baby field as well.
Yeah.
That they've even got, I think, less distance from, back wall to back wall. So it's 2 baby field teams right now that are 1-2 in the 12-team table, and all the full-size teams are trying to chase them down. And of course, both of those teams are also perfect at home so far this year. But so is San Diego. However, the way San Diego is perfect at home is by eking out victories, with a couple of impressive, solid, grindy 2-goal wins against Chihuahua and against Kansas City, good, solid wins. But there's also been a lot of 1-goal victories, including one that really was a Utica win that got unfairly taken from them by the official. And that's, still something I think Chihuahua would be really thinking about if there was a final situation, or even a Baltimore. Like, if we take care of our game 1 at home, we don't care if game 2's there, because we could get to the mini game, and we could have a path to tire out the Sockers and then pounce them in match 3. And of course, that's what Chihuahua's done the last 2 years, is they've tired out the Sockers in match 2 and pounced in match 3.
And then you can take a look at recently, Tacoma took it to Chihuahua in a defensive effort at Corner Sport Arena. They got themselves a 4-1 loss for Tacoma, but honestly, that's the perfect video that I'd be reviewing right now if I'm the Sockers on the way there. How are you going to prepare for that? What did Tacoma do well? You also put 4 past Tacoma, but they also, didn't score gets 3 scored on. So right now, if you're just taking that face value, ignore the field, ignore the dimensions, they're still better by at least 2 goals on defense against the same squad that you just faced. So again, these are things that I hope that the Sockers coaching staff and just players are just paying attention to, these little minute details, because I'll tell you who is Chihuahua. They hated losing to San Diego. They hated being embarrassed like that here in the States, not just once, but a couple times. And they're going to get better. So it's just a matter of you and the rest of the league boning up to that and saying, hey, we can go ahead and do the same down at Corner Sport Arena.
Tony, I see on the MASL Twitter that they've got the 2 teams graphically represented for the All-Star game on February 12th. And as you go hunt to pull that up, I'll tell everyone that officially now Sockers and Chihuahua players are not going to participate in the All-Star game. And it's because of the travel conundrum that they would be presented with to try and leave on the 13th from Utica, upstate New York, and get to Chihuahua, Mexico. It's the very newest one. That was the field. And then they've got one that's now got Team Kelvin, Team Pereira.
Yeah. Downloading that one right now.
Got it. Yeah. So that was the draft group. And you can see no Sockers, no Savage. A very who can make it, but still really good group of players for the MASL. Sockers guys, we heard Gabby Costa talk about it on last week's show. It just would have ruined the match on the 14th and the 16th if they tried to get up to Utica to play on the 12th, and to do it for an exhibition match. It would just have been really kind of a weird situation. And of course, God forbid someone gets hurt along the way. Someone could get hurt any day, but people get hurt in training all the time. But nonetheless, that is the truth. So soon to be revealed.
Boom, boom, boom.
The MASL.
I was watching the show live just because I wanted to get this graphic done and have it. I was just like, hey, will they get it? Come on, guys. Select already.
I haven't even looked yet.
There was translators there, but here we go. I do believe I have it. Boom.
All right.
Boom, and boom.
Team Kelvin. Here we go. Oh, Kelvin Oliveira's on it. That makes sense. Alex Sanchez, Vinny Dantas. Looks like he scooped all his Utica mates. I believe this is Team Utica. We got Vinny. We got Super Mario. Oh, look, it's Stefan Mijatovic.
Okay, we just scroll down this way.
Okay, Andrew Coughlin, Juan Pereira, David Ortiz. Okay, Juan Alava, Leo Acosta. Neto is on this team. De Andrade, or if you heard the Texas broadcast, De Andrade. Fabian. Okay, we got Marco with Kid Dynamite, and Patrick Thompson is in this game too. And there's Team Kelvin. Okay, pretty cool team. Here's Team Pereira. Shockingly, Nick didn't pick Mijatovic. I thought that would have been his first pick.
Yeah.
Marquez was probably his first pick. Good pick. And the Stinger. Quintana from Dallas, big kid. Vandegrift, good defender. Chris Toth, there you go. Pereira and Toth together again. Nacho, William S.K., Dominic Francis, Zach Reggett, All right. This is more Team Kansas City. All the Comets are gathering to go streaking in Utica. We're going streaking. Ian Bennett, Unitas Mello, Dylan Hundelt, Joey Tavernisi, and Willie Bonahene. There it is, Team Pereira.
Love that. No, it's all-star game, some offense. They were joking about, hey, when are we going to pick up goalkeepers? And they could have been done the funniest thing and selected the 2 goalkeepers on one team too, and left the other team with an empty net. 6th attacker, the eternal 6th attacker in AMSL All-Star form.
You know, it pretty much could have worked because Chris could play midfield, no problem, or defender. I mean, he could play either position, no problem. He'd probably want to play forward, though. That would probably be the problem. And I feel like Neto could also, room to roam. He could run and roam. Yeah, Team Utica versus Team KC is what it looks like with some mix. And, I'm not going to say anything. There's a lot of guys who can't make it up to Utica. It's a tough situation, right? And the 12th is a Wednesday. So with the one thing I would say is maybe they shouldn't have had matches the weekend. Could they have had it on a weekend and not have had matches as opposed to having it on a Wednesday? And then people can't make it.
Yeah, no, it's a scheduling conundrum, and hopefully it's a learning experience for everybody.
Yeah, they're trying. Yeah. It's better to have it than not have it. That's for sure.
True. 100%. I'll be tuning in.
Yeah. Yeah, no sadness here, no criticism, just wondering, is there any way that could have been done? Could that have been a better practice? Is it just too unwieldy to give up a weekend of games? Was there a circumstance where doing it on the weekend, certain teams would then be unable to fulfill their schedule? They had to have this date. This date was critical to get to 12. That could have been the case. There's oftentimes things that you just don't know along the way. But there they are, your all-star teams. Soccer's Savage will be resting, watching, prepping, getting ready for their showdown. And that'll be as much of an all-star game as the all-star game. I mean, watching those two teams go head to head.
Yeah, it's the excluded, the ones that were like, hey, shouldn't we have been in there? At least Chihuahua, right? Like, hey, shouldn't we have at least a couple more in there? I think they'll take the rest.
All right. We got to move up MASL news. And it was good news indeed. Now it's time to enter our corridor of great guests. And we begin with the man that we have so much respect for. He and Nick Vasos working hard out there in Kansas City, calling the Comets broadcasts. They are voices of the MASL. You see him on CBS Sports Golazo Network, match after match. The great Eric Bergrud is so kind to give us his time here this evening with the classic Comets. I love it. How are you?
Hey, Craig, I almost were for you. My lasers pulled over, and I thought, that would have been too deep. So I went with the employer.
That's all right. I kind of was thinking it might be lasers, but I'm still wearing just a black shirt I wore to work today, so it doesn't matter. It's fine. Well, my friend, thank you for your time. Let's just start kind of broad picture. We'll narrow in. Overall outlook, Comets right now 4th in the table, but only 1 regulation loss. They've looked very strong. Some signature wins along the way. Like, what's the state of Kansas City at pretty much the halfway point?
Yeah, I'd say for both Kansas City and San Diego, definite improvements in their rosters. I think San Diego in particular, you look down multiple lines and there's quality there. To see Gabriel Costa tied for 6th in scoring, you have depth there in San Diego. Kansas City got better too. I think what's different for the Comets is they started hot last year, and then they had a nosedive, and then they got good at the end of the season, and that's when they caught the Sockers last year, when they were playing well, not when they were struggling. And so it's going to be an interesting matchup. Both teams are looking at first place with the format of the playoffs this year, first or second, in my opinion. That's where you're going to want to be. And all these games, San Diego, Chihuahua, San Diego, Kansas City, they count double.
Yeah, no, and a big way that this these Kansas City Comets have looked a little bit different is in the goalkeeping position. right? You have one legitimate all-star in the all-star team, but then Philip Ejimadu has now also come onto his own with 9 games played and showcasing some different skill sets. What's that been like with this goalkeeping tandem for Kansas City?
Yeah, well, if you talk to the Comets coaching staff last year, Philip Ejimadu in practice made Nicolau Neto a better goalkeeper because all of a sudden he had to look over his shoulder at practice, somebody who makes a ton of saves. And you saw that there at Front Wave Arena a few weeks ago. He is a legit star goalkeeper in this league. It's going to be interesting to see what Coach Stokic does. Neto got the start against Harrisburg on Sunday. In my opinion, that was to get him reps. I would expect Ejimadu to start on Friday, but Stokic keeps things close to his vest. So I guess we'll have to watch the game and find out.
I literally thought, are they getting Neto a rep so he can have something under him for the All-Star game? Like, is Ejimadu like going to hide in his suitcase? He's been so good this season. He's truly been terrific. Meanwhile, up front, Rion Marquez has been great, and he's going to the All-Star game. And so Zach Reggett. And boy, it's been kind of a quiet year for Zach so far, Eric.
Yeah, no, and I don't think I'm sharing any state secrets, Craig. Defenders are honing in on Zach Reggett, shading him not to use his left foot. And you see it. You saw it there in San Diego. You can watch it on tape. So he's having to move around and get a little bit more creative to get his goals. Marquez, he's your prototypical target forward where the defender's going to try to muscle him. Good luck with that. He can turn to his left. He can turn to his right. And he creates definite mismatch problems. And if there wasn't this guy called Kelvin Oliveira, then Marquez would be your leading scorer in the league.
Yeah, that Kelvin is something special. But somebody who is very special here to a lot of the San Diego fans is somebody who is now with Kansas City Comets. That's Guerrero Pino coming back. He's somebody who knows the San Diego Sockers very well, very intimately in defense. So what's it been like having Guerrero, the warrior, out there for you guys? Is he divulging secrets? What's going on?
Yeah. So what was interesting, I don't know if you guys recall this, the last game San Diego played here in Kansas City, Pino and Zach Reggett got into it near the end of the game, and Reggett got left with a permanent stamp there. And I kind of wondered, did they bury the hatchet? Obviously they did. Watching Pino against the Savage a couple weeks ago was a defensive masterclass. And so I think he brings his game to a certain level. And he's going to be psyched to host San Diego here this Friday.
What a player. Yeah. It was great to see him when he came by the arena, and Guerrero Pino makes any team better. That's for sure. One thing that I think all of the MASL looks at and looks at with admiration, Eric, is the way that Kansas City has succeeded in the stands, in the community, growing and leading the league in attendance, clearly, filling the arena, authentically doing so. You've really locked something in. It's been there a long time, I know, but it's something you've explored in the 10 for 10 as well. But I'm just curious, like where you think Kansas City's doing it right in a way that other clubs could emulate.
Well, I think that the ownership group decided a few years ago, coming out of COVID, we need to invest specifically in ticket sales. And so they threw some additional money into front office staff to really focus on that, which I think is great. And I think that the dividends have paid off. I think it's going to be interesting for San Diego too. Like San Diego, Kansas City has 3 teams: MLS, NWSL, and MASL. And so Kansas City's had a while to kind of figure out its lane in a fairly crowded professional market. I think that's something that you're going to have that joy and experience now with MLS in town. And so somehow you have to find who you are and not pretend to be something else. There will be fans who will go to all 3. There will be fans that'll be very specific about choosing which one they prefer, and it's up to the team to make that distinction and grow that base. But we've been fortunate in Kansas City to have great fan support for a long, long time, but I don't think the Comets take it for granted.
Wow. Tony, I'm I really appreciate this, but now I've got to ask just the group. Hang on, San Diego, Kansas City. Who else? Does anyone else have the Troika, the MLS and NWSL and MASL Troika?
Out St. Louis.
St. Louis doesn't. Dallas does. Well, Dallas has a women's team, but the other league, no. And that's so that's an interesting situation.
So we're the soccer's capitals of the world. I know that Kansas City is right here. But look, San Diego, hey, we're right here.
Well, I mean, Seattle, Tacoma, but Tacoma's, I think, further south where I wouldn't.
I guess, we'll give it to them. We'll give them 3 then. Okay.
Yep. So, but it's an interesting problem to have. I think ultimately it grows interest in professional soccer, but you have to find your lane and be your authentic self. And I know that there's a lot of change happening, new arena, new franchise in town, and it's always the new kid in town gets all the love and attention, but you definitely have a sellable product there, and your team, at least the games I've watched, you guys calling mainly on CBS Sports Golazo this year, this is one of the most talented soccer teams. I mean, this is a legit championship quality caliber roster.
And hopefully they can deliver a championship caliber matchup against the Kansas City Comets this weekend. And at Cable Dahmer Arena, what are you feeling? Is this going to be another match that, the Comets just take and put lightning in a bottle and take the rest of the season as they did last season, where they face the Sockers here in San Diego, and that was the point where they turned? Is this going to be this sort of match, or what are you expecting over the weekend?
I would say expect the unexpected. I would expect San Diego to come in strong. I don't expect San Diego to play reserved. We saw St. Louis come in last month and put 5 guys back, and they were really successful because Kansas City wasn't expecting it. I would expect Phil and the group to play their game, and Kansas City will adjust based on that. But Kansas City knows this is a team they have to beat if they want to be champions. They got over the hump and beating Chihuahua for the first time ever a few weeks back, but this game means a lot, particularly with a bad taste in their mouth losing at Front Wave there last month.
Eric, before we let you go, just wanted to give you a chance to highlight once again the project you've been doing to put a spotlight on some of the different stories around the Major Arena Soccer League.
Yeah, no, I definitely appreciate it. I was really fortunate last year. The league reached out to me, invited me to start a new show called 10 for 10, 10-minute interviews with, thank you, there's Ian Bennett. 10-minute interviews with people across the league. I try to spread it around so it's not one team getting all the love and attention. And I had a San Diego feature last year. A San Diego feature is in the works later this season. We're trying to get interview dates set up, but the idea is to kind of get a sense of successes across the league. And this year's theme is the business of soccer. So I'm trying to bring in guests who can talk a little bit about either the operations of their team or can talk about what they do outside of soccer that furthers their business interests. So I'm interviewing Thursday's guest tomorrow, which is a little later than I would like, but I'll spill the tea here. So Nick Pereira is coming on for this week's episode. I'm definitely going to ask him what was the strategy in the draft sequence that they did today, and we'll see what he has to say.
Love it, man. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Always, you've been generous anytime we've asked, and we look forward to enjoying the broadcast on Friday for the Sockers and the Comets.
Appreciate it. Love your guys' broadcasts, and excited for the new arena. And I think being on CBS Sports Golazo so many times has been good for your team, good for our team, and let's keep it going.
Let's keep it going and see how far it goes. Eric, thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Take care.
You bet. Eric Bergrud, amazing stuff. Great to have him, and deeply appreciated as well. Good insight there on what's going on in Kansas City, huh? Yeah. It kind of went in and out. I heard owners, investment, front office.
I mean, 2 out of 3. I mean, well, we'll see.
Owners, investment, front office. I think I heard that. I think that's they invested in their front office. in ticket staff, and that they got big rewards when they built the machine. Because you see, running a sports franchise isn't like running a regular business. It's building a machine, doing the investing early to create the machine that then spits the cash out the other side. And they've built a beautiful, beautiful machine at Front Wave Arena. It's absolutely gorgeous. And can't wait to see when the Nets come in.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about matching blue carpets by now.
Yeah.
Maybe like, hey, is there a different upkeep? Is there some sort of different style? Like, is different the blades of turf thinner? Like, what's the difference? But can't have that conversation right now.
I want that to be the turf right there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, not literally that. That's a blanket. But I'd like to I'd like to be seen. I think it's going to be the cursive script too. That's what I heard.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well. But yeah, San Diego, MASL, NWSL, MLS. It's a interesting little nugget of information there. I'm still trying to think. Ooh.
Yeah, that's got to be it, right? Wait, Milwaukee? No.
Oh.
Yeah. Utica, never mind. You know, there's a few you can dismiss out of hand. Dallas was the one, but no. So
there's no Liga Yankees team in Chihuahua.
No.
Yeah.
So when you say soccer hubs of the United States,
mm-hmm.
Kansas City, San Diego.
Yeah. Does Dallas have no NWSL presence?
No NWSL.
Houston would be
Houston, yeah. Houston needs an MASL team, but they don't have an MLS team, right? No, they do. Do they? I don't know the MLS well enough yet.
We're learning. We're learning.
There's Houston Dynamo, right?
Dynamo, yeah.
So they just need an MASL team.
Yeah, just move one of the Texas ones a little closer to Houston. How about that? Plenty of space over there.
Can we find a soccer loving owner in Houston to adopt a team and make it a real team down there. Take those two teams, smoosh them together, or if Dallas wants to keep rolling, cool. But Houston's a thriving soccer market, and then we can have 4 hubs. Because you got to give Tacoma enough credit. SeaTac is an airport, so therefore SeaTac is a soccer region as well. And therefore Sounders OL Reign. Wait, they aren't called that anymore now. What are they? Just Seattle Reign.
Just Seattle Reign.
Yeah, Seattle Reign. And Tacoma Stars. It counts.
Yeah, no, if the airport is named that, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
And all time, Seattle's going to have a little bit of an MLS edge.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I feel like if you just go combined championships and then you focus in on the head-to-head records, feel like soccer is going to do some heavy lifting. And it turns out that meritorially, San Diego is the soccer mecca of the United States.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's a fact, 100%. And soccer's, like you said, always putting San Diego through. People forget championships. There's no major. No, there's 16 of them. Don't count the banners at Front Wave because that'll give you a aired number. But I do think we are ready. Con Michel.
All right, let's welcome in our second guest. It is a great pleasure to welcome back to the show our defender, the man from Mexico City, Mitchell Cardenas, is joining us once again on Soccer's Overtime. Hello, my friend. It's great to see you. How are you?
How's it going, man? Good to be with you guys. Always a pleasure listening to you guys doing this program and promoting the San Diego Soccer's brand and doing the best that you can for our team and our club.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. What's going on? I hear you got the kids back together, families together. Everything good? Everything well?
Yeah, all good here. We had a birthday today with Luis Ortega, little Pee-wee, one of our beloved players here, number 69. So we were just having a little cookout, little grill. I'll give you a little glimpse of the team here. I don't know if you can see them.
Love
a couple of the guys back there. We had Leo on the grill, the Brazilian chef.
Oh, pues el brasileño sí sabe.
Masterclass. Yes.
Oh, la carnita asada, la churrasquería. I love it.
The best of the best.
Well, let's get things started, Mitchell. We'll get you out of here real quick and back to the cookout, and we appreciate it, man. Big win on Sunday. What are your thoughts on pulling that one out? We all thought, we started the show saying this one's going to be a goaltending battle all the way down.
Yeah, not to diminish any rivals or anybody that we face, but for our club, and obviously you guys that are in the know will know that we want the 3 points every game. Every game, doesn't matter if we're here, we're in Mexico, we're in KC, Tacoma, wherever it is, we want 3 points. So for us, it was a little bit of a disappointment pushing the game until overtime. If I'm not mistaken, we were maybe with more than half of the fourth quarter remaining when we were 3-3. So it was a tough game for us to swallow with only 2 points, especially at home with our supporters and our crew that does their job. But in the end, we also understand that we're going to face these games where we know that the remaining teams in the league are going to play their best game against us week in and week out. Doesn't matter who it is. Us in the locker room, we know we are the team to beat. It doesn't matter who else is in the league and what the other opinions are. We always take the responsibility of knowing that we're the team to beat and we're the number one team in this league. So with that being said, we know that we have to battle and we're going to have these games where these guys have, the luck on their side or, they work so hard to where the game is on in their favor. But in the end, we have to pull wins out, and in playoff games, we understand that it doesn't matter whether you win in overtime or in regular time, you need to win. And this team is battle tested and is proven that we can push through anything. So right now, that's what we're focused on, pushing through these games. And we have 4 games coming up that are going to be crucial. And we know that they're going to determine a lot of who we are and what we're going to be in the playoff games. And we're ready for it. We're excited.
Something that we've seen of who you are as a team is a great second half defensive team. And you've adjusted in games that some of the teams have really taken into the soccers. And I see you just working and matriculating through the game itself of how we're going to stop them. And for that second half, you've done a really good job of doing that. What's it been like to be able to solve for the opponent's opposition and their attack so well?
Yeah, I think it's just trust between the teammates, right? Like you have great players on this team in the midfield, the attacking end, the defense, who we rely on and we believe are the ones that give us the best chance to win in this league and in these games. So when it comes down to the third and fourth quarter, it's really just about believing in who we are and what we are as a team, and trusting in one another and covering for each other in the end, and knowing that we have enough talent in the end that someone's going to pull through with a goal here or there, right? So as long as we don't concede, we're giving ourselves a chance to win these quarters. And in the end, if you win the quarters, right, you're going to win the game.
Mitchell, you've got a team that's got some new players that are mixing into critical spots in terms of Luis Morales and Sebastian Mendez, 2 kids coming over from Texas. And I know, speaking to Cheeky, speaking to Phil early in the year, they felt like chemistry early on, it was going to be a challenge and it was going to take a little while to get things integrated. What's your opinion as a guy who is, both had to come in and join the team at one point, but also now is one of those veterans welcoming in guys from afar, as to how that's gone in terms of rebuilding the chemistry?
Yeah, I think it's simple. Going back to my outdoor days to my indoor days, the number one thing you have to do coming in as a new signing is earning your teammates' trust, right? The ownership or the general manager, the front office staff has gone out to seek you because they believe in you and they believe that you can help the team. So as a player coming into a new team, especially a well-established team like San Diego is, you have to come in and just pretty much say my number one job is to gain my teammates' trust. And those guys have done that, working hard, doing whatever it is that Phil and Cheeky ask of them. And us, the players who have been here, the leadership of the team, our number one job is to welcome them and help the transition be as simple as possible. And if you've seen it, you've seen Sebastian Mendez grow into a role that maybe he hadn't been used to at Texas or Mesquite, and he's doing it very well, and he's growing into it, and it's a learning process. But in the end, he has enough talent and enough ability and capability to do whatever Phil and Cheeky are asking of him, and Renee as well. And then Morales, obviously, he's a proven talent who's done it week in and week out before coming here. And us as players here in San Diego, it's about helping them in whatever way we can. And if you've seen it, they've shown it, they've proven it, and I'm sure and I'm positive that they'll be doing it through the remainder of the season and through the playoff run as well.
Yeah, absolutely love that. And again, if I can get your quick thoughts too on Keiko, like an outdoor player from La Liga coming in and doing his own thing too. But could you tell me about how impressed you are with Boris and his ability just to stay on top of his game? A veces lo ves medio rucoman, pero no, like it's still Boris of old, and he still gets it done. And what a performance he had this last game.
Yeah, man. I mean, for me, Boris is my guy. I mean, we've been through a lot of battles in a short amount of time. If you ask anybody in the NASL, any player in there, 4 seasons, 5 seasons seems like it's so quick. With the short amount of time that we play, and then the long off seasons. Boris is my guy, man. We're gonna ride with him until his wheels fall off, or until he says, this is it. But no, I mean, having Boris back there is a security blanket that you can't get anywhere else. The way he communicates, the way he plays, the way he directs the game. I can tell you that from my point of view, as soon as I go into a game and Boris is there, I feel, I'm already winning the game. So I just got to do my job, and us defenders have to do our job to help him. And we're ahead of the curve if Boris is there.
Mitchell, before we let you go, we're going to just go ahead and fold in the preview part of it, which is the last thing on our menu for the show, which is your road trip ahead. You've got this weekend going to Missouri. If you know the old naming of the states, each state's got its thing. California's the Golden State. Missouri is the Show Me State. That's the name of it. And that's always what I bring up, because you got to show out. If you're going to go there and expect to come out with 6 points, they're going to say, hey, show me that you can do it. Kansas City's going to come with the best crown in the league in terms of overall size. And St. Louis has Frank back, and they're clicking a little bit. They've won the last couple of games. They seem to score pretty well at home. So quite a challenge ahead for you boys this weekend.
Yeah, 100%. We understand what we're facing. We understand what we're going up against. KC, the finalist of last year, and before that, they've been in semifinals and finals for the past couple of years. So it's a serious club. It's a serious organization. And St. Louis as well, like you said, they have star power. They have good players. They have a good crowd behind them and good home field advantage. But we're prepared. We're prepared. We know what we're up against, and believe me, we're going to do what we can to come away with 6 points. And our team will be ready to face that challenge. Don't worry about that.
Well, my friend, it is always so good to see you. Really appreciate it. Love to see the camaraderie behind you as well, knowing that the boys are together, that everyone is kind of on that page. And please pass along our Feliz Cumpleaños to both Pee-wee and, of course, Phil as well. Phil's Big Boss birthday today as well. Did you make him do the tunnel today?
Oh, believe me, that is the one tunnel that will not be forgotten about on this team. If anything, that is the one tunnel that will always happen. But yeah, they both got it. No problems.
That is great to see and great to hear. All right, buddy. Give our best to the whole squad. Much love to everybody. Safe travels, and hopefully we see you with 6 points in that overhead container coming back from Missouri.
Exactly. I like that, Craig. We'll see you with 6 points in a week.
All right. Take care.
Perfecto.
Take
Nos
care.
vemos.
There he
Saludos.
goes. What a guy. That was wonderful.
Yeah. In a way, we got more Soccers in here. It was really a super show. They were in the background, but they were there.
They were there.
I love that.
I tell you what, that's fun. And that's one thing you know about this team, you know? I just wanted to make sure they got the tunnel. Phil's always going to get the tunnel.
So one time, just imagine if if it's Bill Belichick's birthday and he allows you to go through a tunnel just this one time. Oh,
Yeah.
you're gonna make sure you get a happy birthday in there.
Yes. Now, if you're in the chat and you don't know what the tunnel is, I don't know. I don't think you can Google that. If you just Google the tunnel, you're just going to get pictures of tunnels. You know, you'll get the tunnel that leads you to Zion or to inside Yosemite. You know, you'll find some tunnels, but the tunnel is the birthday celebration, just like you had when you were a kid, where all of your friends at the birthday party line up opposite one another and, you know, arch their arms above each other to create like an archway tunnel. And then you run through and everyone giggles, except the soccer version of that. All of that happens. Everyone makes their arch tunnel. Everyone runs through. Everyone giggles. But also the person going through each, let's just say each archway might hit back a little bit and or just hit your back as you go through. Here's a tunnel right there. Yeah.
Some sort of tunnel.
Yeah, that
Usually
looked kind of like a tunnel right there. Yeah, that's a tunnel right there. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
these are
and as you go through,
gentle.
yeah, that was a pretty nice one, to be honest. I guarantee you Phil's was not that nice. Usually like 2 or 3 people are throwing water on him or anything. Yeah, if you know, you know. It's one of those if you know, you know. But somebody might not know. You never know. Well, I think, you know, he pretty much said it all there, Tony.
Yeah.
You know, this is going to be a tough trip. Kansas City's going to be a tough place to play. St. Louis, I think, becomes tougher because it's a back-to-back. And the travel involved in that, it's not terrible, but it's not nothing. And it could be a situation where they play and then, like, van to the St. Louis hotel that night. So should be a pretty interesting set of matches. St. Louis hasn't had a lot of defensive prowess. Usually when the Sockers have faced them, it hasn't been very much of a contest.
Mhm.
But I do remember, it was a long time ago, but I do remember doing this back-to-back and having St. Louis jump up and surprise the Sockers in the second match. They do have a good crowd at the Family Arena generally. And, you know, when you got Frank Taillou on your side, could be worth a couple, 3 goals, you know, especially if guys are a little tired or banged up from the night before, kind of giving it their all against a finals-worthy team like Kansas City.
You really have to take advantage of that homestand that you had at the beginning of the season to have the chance to prepare for these long stints. And, you know, you were able to at least mentally prepare to say, hey, this is the road trip that we have to make sure that we get and nail. We have to be at a certain level by here, if not improve after. But you had that homestand early on where, you know, it was very fortunate. I know there was people around the league like, why do they this? Well, don't worry. The Sockers will have the chance to be proven wrong on the road. And this is the perfect chance for either Ambush, Kansas City, and the Savage to do just that and bring a little shine down of the Sockers.
Yeah, I mean, this unique postseason just gives me a whole different perspective on the year. And I just feel like until we get to the final quarter, it won't truly coalesce in terms of what the stakes are for whether you finish first or whether you finish fourth. You know, and when you look at that grouping with Chihuahua, Baltimore, San Diego, and Kansas City, and you wanted to make the argument that those teams are going to finish 1 through 4, right? Then you'd say, okay, well, who do you want to match up against? It could come down to styles as much as anything else. If it was right here, what you see now, if it ended exactly what you see now, San Diego, Utica in the first game, Kelvin revenge match, single opportunity, and they would be playing on the second day as well, San Diego. But then you would have a chance to play Baltimore if you won and it went chalk. You'd have an opportunity to play Baltimore and not have to confront, the baby Towson Arena, men's basketball court-sized arena. So that's an advantage. But if you made it through and it went chalk, now you'd be hosting Chihuahua in game 1 and you'd be going to Corner Sport Arena for game 2. So, that would be an example of potential path if things just froze right there or just wound up staying the same to the end. If you get to those 1 or 2 spots, you're going to get the advantage of playing a losing-ish team in the first game, right? Empire or St. Louis right now. But if you look at the point differential, gosh, Tacoma's a win away from 8th. Dallas is a win away from 8th. Harrisburg is 4 points away. So, other than Texas, anyone could still finish 8th technically. And Tacoma could still make it if Nick got healthy and Jamel Cox came back and things got put together for them. Just Nick and Chris alone could push them into the 8th spot. So nonetheless, but if you think about it from that perspective, if you could get up to 1 or 2, then you're going to play one of these teams, an Empire, St. Louis, Dallas, class team, Tacoma class team, one of these teams that you'd expect to beat for sure in the first round. And you're going to wind up with a slightly more favorable opportunity in the second round. And the ideal would be to get Chihuahua down into a position where you could face them in a semifinal, only one game here, take Corner Sport out of the equation altogether.
Yeah, and really raises the stakes for those regular season matches. And I know the Sockers, I think, understand that. And I really appreciate Cardenas and even Costa's honesty about the travel, the intentionality of, maybe we have to just make sure that we're never on the back foot. We're never rested. We're never really here. We're all full steam ahead the entire season because it's going to be go, go, go. And just at this point, I really think that this setup is a success for right now. I really think that they nailed something when making the regular season a little bit more interesting at the MASL offices, and hopefully, that fire just keeps burning for the Sockers and carries them into a good run of form and build momentum when they need to in the playoffs.
Bottom line for me, expectation wise, I can't expect 6 points out of a weekend like this. I think that's 6 points is you are now rock solid established as one of the 2 primary favorites to win the Ron Newman Cup. If you get through this with 6 points, then I think you can look at yourself in that class. 4 points is pretty solid. And 3 wouldn't be the worst thing in history. If you had to drop one and you came back and won the other, if you won in Kansas City and lost in St. Louis, that would be the wrong way to get to 3 points. If you had to lose in Kansas City and you won in St. Louis, I think you'd feel okay, not great, but okay, coming back. And either way, then the mindset shifts to the following weekend into the Chihuahua Friday, Sunday home and home. So, either way, if they go through the gauntlet perfect, holy cow, now you're the number 1 team, and you're pretty clearly the number 1 team. But that'd be a tough ask for anybody, and we'll see what the Sockers get at the end of it. First step is streaking into Kansas City with a 10-match winning streak. All right, what a lovely, tidy, action-packed, info-packed. My favorite Sockers open. Straight up, good one. Special thanks, Eric Bergroup. Special thanks to Gardner. Special thanks, Soccer Togetherness, bringing the boys together for a birthday cookout. And special thanks to you, Tony, for hosting Soccer's Overtime on San Diego Punto Football. Tell everybody about what's going on this beautiful platform heading into the busiest season for what we have objectively determined to be the soccer mecca of the United States, San Diego, California.
Yep, the home is here. San Diego Punto Football is where it's at. You can find everything soccer in San Diego, indoor, outdoor, women's game, the men's game. All of it is here on San Diego Punto Football. You can find it on social media for that. If you want to find me here, _Tony Sanchez. There you go. You get carne asada stories from time to time. So if you're interested in that or whatnot, you can go ahead and find me on Instagram there. Craig?
You can find me on Blue Sky at 619 Sports. You can find me on Instagram at 619 Sports and Life. Still on Facebook because Instagram copies to Facebook, but I would just it's meta either way. What do I care? Nonetheless, if you're there and you want to follow me, you can. If not, no big deal. And my show, Annie and Elston, is on the radio Monday through Friday. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. There it is, right there on 97.3 The Fan, and streaming on YouTube as well on the 97.3 The Fan page. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can be watching us 10 to 2 on YouTube as well. And I'll be back there tomorrow. For Tony, for Eric, for Mitchell, I'm Craig. Thank you to all of you that joined us in the chat and or watched us live and or have been watching. We're speaking to you in the future from us in the past. Either way, we say thank you for your support. And until we gather back again next Tuesday at 6 p.m., we say go Sockers.